Hey, and we're live. Good morning. Welcome to the Zone Chat. By the way, if you are watching this live, we would love for you to give StreamYard permission to view your comments. That way we can see who's commenting and respond in real time. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel right now. I'm Erin Pennings. I'm a copywriter and marketing strategist who partners with high-level action takers to solve marketing challenges with web copy and strategy. And my co-host is
Pam Meister. I'm a remote work expert, and I help my clients reimagine work to find joy. Today, we are building, well, not just today, in general, we are building a community of incredible people who are reimagining work to follow and find joy, gain accountability, and build momentum to achieve their goals. It's called The Zone. We meet for virtual co-working sprints and more. And today we are talking about something very interesting, and I'm going to let Erin introduce it.
So today, we're talking about core values and specifically how important they are when it comes to reimagining your life and work, and how to use it in your marketing, both personally and professionally. And I'll tell you a bit about personal marketing in a second, to attract the people that you know you want to work with. So on LinkedIn, you may have seen a post, possibly on Instagram as well, asking about your values and whether you have had the opportunity to do some work on your core values. And if so, how your values drive your business. So Pam, I'll let you talk a little bit about what people are saying.
So I have to pull that open. So if you bear with me for a second, I should have had that.
Sure, I can summarize too. Like the options were to prioritize what you do, attract ideal clients, set expectations and boundaries for how you work, or that maybe you haven't taken the time to outline your values yet. And if you haven't, that's totally fine. But it's a good thing to do. From what I saw from the poll, most people who have outlined their values use them for the top three things. But some people haven't. And it's kind of a wash in terms of what is the most important, because everyone sees the way that they use their core values as extremely important. So I can talk about it from a marketing perspective. I can talk about this all day long. From a marketing perspective, core values are like insanely essential. Can something be insanely essential? It is now, because they help you attract people that are your ideal clients. Personally, when you live out your core values and what you do brings you joy, you attract people who light up your life. In terms of your business, if you have a business or you're looking at starting a business, you can let those core values shine in your web copy, how you do your business, how you do everything, your processes, your sales calls. Like, for example, like my family is one of my core values, and they're one of my top priorities. And I would say family in general, because people I choose to work with become an extension of my family in many, many ways. But on my website, I always tell people, it's on my about section, it's like, warning, tiny humans in the background, they make life interesting, something to that effect. And it's always sort of how I start off most of my calls. Hey, by the way, a kid may walk in, just so you know, because then when it inevitably happens, people aren't surprised and they're like, oh, cool, she's a real person. This is her life.
So important, authenticity.
Oops, I lost you.
Yes. Sorry, my connection seems to be off, but the authenticity is so important. That is one of my core values. But I think that what you're saying really rings true, is that people get to know you for who you really are, and they get a real feel for who they're going to be working with when they do decide to hire you. And I think that's really important and part of the charm of anyone that you get to know and work with. If you're real and your values shine through, it helps build trust and a great foundation for a relationship.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And they also let you set boundaries. So yours is on authenticity. One of mine is family. So I only work hours when either my husband is not working or when my kids are in school, because that family time is my priority. That's why I set off to get into business. So I think there's so much that I can talk about on this.
Well, and you mentioned the word boundaries, and I think that that's really key. Like when we're talking about why it's important to set core values and what some of them can be, boundaries is a really big part of this. So many times people ask me, how do I not feel like I'm living at work when I work from home? How do I gain control when I have an employer who knows that I'm home all the time and keeps calling and emailing, and it might be the weekend or night or early morning, or my clients' values and what's when I work from home, or going back and forth.
Sorry, I am somehow starting. I was trying to pull up the comments and it went live and I couldn't turn it off.
That's okay. My connection's a little weird. Is it me?
No, that was all me. It was coming through the audio. So sorry about that. You were talking about boundaries. Oh no, boundaries too, while we're waiting for her internet to catch up now that I'm not double streaming her content. It's always interesting when it's live. And so Pam always talks about oh, is she back?
Anyway, for you, is it trying to move to Yeah, can you see me?
She's back. I can see you. Yeah, it's you're kind of frozen, and then all of a sudden there's a rush of words that comes out.
I'm trying to move.
Oh, I can hear you now, so we can hear you.
Keep talking, Erin.
Okay, I'll keep talking.
This is the beauty of going live, right? You get what you get. But ultimately, when you're setting boundaries, you're setting them people who are bringing you the positive energy and the opportunities that you want. It's going to make a huge difference. Now I'm losing you.
Oh, I'm back. Can you hear me now? This is hysterical. This is probably the very most disjointed live that we've done. So what happened is that I somehow got kicked out, whether it was software or internet issue, and now Pam is back. So I don't know what she talked about and what she hasn't yet. So I think the key to core values is that whatever they are, they trickle down to everything you do, whether in your business or your personal life. And it's important to set them. So if you've never done this exercise before, one of the best ways to grab a list of core values or to define your core values is to really grab that list, right? So I love James Clear's list. There's about, a dozen other great options out there. You can choose the ones that resonate most with you. And I've done it so many different trainings, and everyone has a different process for whittling them down. So if there's, say, 40 great core values and you choose all the ones that you really, really, really like, you can slowly start whittling them down. I've seen people categorize them and then choose the words that most resonate with each category. I've also seen people say, do this March Madness style, where it's like, okay, of these two, which is more true? Of these two, which is more true? Of these two, which is more true? Until you hit a point where you have a small number, like 3 to 5, that really resonate with you. And some people will say 3 to 5 is too many. But I think you start there and then you can truly prioritize. And you can even add ones. And if you want, when you're looking at these lists, if you're like, this isn't in here. Like family to me is one of the most important things, but it's not necessarily in there. However, what's really kind of cool is that whatever those words end up being, you can define them in ways that speak to you. So if mine is, for example, family, it's, honoring my commitments to my family, being there with them, spending time with them, but also taking time to set aside time for the clients who also become my family. And when I'm with them, they receive, I would say, 99% of my attention, because there are small people who make their way in. I think the other thing to keep in mind is to just keep things simple. Don't overthink what you're trying to come up with, because you can always tailor it. And the crazy thing is these core values are a lot of times like really present already in your business, and the way you talk about your business, the way you show up. And it's really kind of a cool thing, because like Pam and I were talking yesterday in preparation for this extremely disjointed episode. And what we came up with was that, when she was going through this process, everything for her redounded to automate, delegate, and eliminate. And that's her process. So everything really tied back into that. So, and it was so that you could in turn focus on your authenticity and focus on what felt right, what feels good, and some of those pieces. There's any number of ways you can show up in your business and in your personal life. So let's talk about like what happens when you aren't true to those core values. What does that mean? You end up with kind of this toxic situation. You might get scope creep. You might be going into work when you're sick, and like maybe that's a whole other podcast. Like the biggest takeaways from the pandemic is that maybe people won't work when they're sick. Wouldn't that be nice? And people will stay home if they don't feel good, because they'll be empowered to do so. So here's what I would like to know. If you run a business, do your core values come through in your website copy? I just released a free website checkup, and you can grab it right from my homepage at erinpennings.com. And if you'd like to explore it further, you can always hop on my calendar and schedule a 20-minute call to see if your core values really do show up. Because I think you'll be surprised at how well they may, but how much clarification we perhaps need to add. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. What we're talking about next week is what are your boundaries? So how well do you enforce them? And we'd love to know some of your challenges around them. So there'll be a LinkedIn poll going up today. And the options kind of are like, awesome, your boundaries are super clear and you're really good about enforcing them. Another one might be you're inconsistent about enforcing them on a day-to-day basis, depending on the project, depending on any of these other variables. And then there's two other options. One is not so great because I'm not really clear on what my boundaries are. And finally, like boundaries, what boundaries? So we'd love to know more. Please give us a shout. Let us know if you're watching this on the replay. We look forward to getting to know you and your business better. And you will be able to find Pam and I in the Zone this morning. If you want more information on the Zone, you can visit thezonecommunity.com.